So, let's talk about the internet. For most of us, it's a daily thing. We wake up, we check our phones, we scroll through social media, we send emails, and, we watch videos. It all feels pretty seamless. You type a message, hit send, and it just appears on your friend's screen, maybe thousands of miles away. But what's really happening behind the scenes is that your data is traveling through a massive network of cables and servers. These servers are physical computers sitting in huge buildings, and they are almost always owned and operated by a handful of very large companies. This setup has worked well for a long time. It's how we got services like instant messaging, streaming platforms, and cloud storage. The problem is, this centralized structure means that a few big players have a lot of control. They control the servers where your data lives, they manage the platforms you use to communicate, and they ultimately decide what you can and cannot see or say on their services. This concentration of power creates a single point of failure and a single point of control, which can be a real issue for privacy and freedom of speech. Think about it this way: when you post a photo or send a message, you're not just sending it directly to your friend, you're sending it to a company's server first. That company then stores it and forwards it to your friend. This means they have a copy of your data, and they can analyze it, use it for advertising, or even hand it over to governments if requested. You are essentially trusting these corporations to be good custodians of your digital life. And that trust isn't always rewarded. It's a trade-off we've made for convenience, but it's worth asking if there's a better way. This is where the conversation gets really interesting. What if the internet didn't have to rely on these giant centralized servers? What if we could build a network that belongs to everyone and no one at the same time? A network where our data travels directly between us without passing through a middleman. This isn't just a futuristic idea, it's something that developers are actively building today. These new technologies are designed from the ground up to give power back to the users, creating a more resilient, private, and censorship-resistant version of the internet we use every day. This brings us to Qortal. So, what is it? In the simplest terms, Qortal is an attempt to build a whole new internet, but one that is completely decentralized. Instead of relying on company-owned servers, it runs on a network of computers owned by its users all around the world. Anyone can join the network by running the Qortal software on their computer. When you do that, your computer becomes a small part of the whole system, helping to store data and keep the network running. It's a true peer-to-peer system built on blockchain technology, which you might have heard of from cryptocurrencies. The key difference here is that there's no central authority, no single company or government can shut it down, because it doesn't live in one place. It lives on thousands of computers simultaneously. On Qortal, you can do many of the things you do on the regular internet. You can host websites, share files, chat with people, and even trade digital assets. But, because it's decentralized, all of this happens without a central server. Your data is your own, and your ability to communicate isn't dependent on a corporation's terms of service. It's a fundamental shift in who holds the keys. One of the coolest features of Qortal is that it's designed to be a complete platform. It's not just one app, it's an entire ecosystem. It has its own built-in secure messaging system, a decentralized data storage solution, and even a way to host websites that can't be taken down by a single entity. It's like having a version of the web where every user is also a part owner of the infrastructure. This creates a much more level playing field, where individuals and small communities can create and share content on their own terms, without needing permission from a tech giant. Imagine publishing an article or a video and knowing that it can't be arbitrarily deleted or demonetized because someone doesn't agree with it. That's the promise of a platform like Qortal. It's about creating a digital public square that is truly public, owned and operated by the people who use it. This isn't about replacing the current internet overnight. Instead, it's about building a viable alternative for those who need it most, offering a space where information can flow freely and securely, resistant to the control and censorship that is becoming more common online. Now, having a decentralized internet is great, but how do all these computers talk to each other, especially if the normal internet is down or censored? This is where another piece of the puzzle, called Reticulum, comes in. Reticulum isn't an application you use directly. It's more like a foundational layer. It's a network stack designed to let devices communicate with each other using whatever means they have available. This could be your home Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or even low-power radio signals like LoRa. Think of it as a universal translator for digital communication. The magic of Reticulum is that it doesn't need the internet to work. Two devices running Reticulum can create their own private, encrypted network and communicate directly. If more devices join, they automatically form a mesh network, where messages can hop from one device to the next until they reach their destination. This makes it incredibly resilient. Even if a government shuts down the internet in a certain region, people could still share information locally over a Reticulum-based network, using just their phones or inexpensive radio hardware. It's communication off the grid. This technology is a game-changer for privacy and security. All communication over Reticulum is end-to-end encrypted by default. This means only the sender and the intended recipient can read the messages. No one in the middle, not even the devices helping to pass the message along, can see the content. It's designed for a world where you can't trust the network you're on. This makes it an ideal foundation for building secure messaging apps, file sharing tools, or any application where privacy is absolutely critical. So, how do Qortal and Reticulum fit together? While they are separate projects, they share a common goal of decentralization. You can imagine a future where a decentralized platform like Qortal could run on top of a resilient network like Reticulum. This would create an incredibly robust system. You would have a decentralized internet platform, Qortal, that could continue to function even if parts of the physical internet were unavailable, thanks to the flexible networking capabilities of Reticulum. It's a powerful combination for ensuring that communication lines always remain open. So, what does all this mean for the average person? Let's look at some real-world examples. Imagine journalists in a country with heavy internet censorship. They need to share information with the outside world, but their government monitors and blocks standard internet traffic. Using an app built on Reticulum, they could use cheap radio devices to create a local network and send their reports to a colleague near a border, who could then upload it to a decentralized platform like Qortal. The information gets out and it can't be easily traced or censored. Or think about a community that wants to organize locally without relying on big social media platforms that harvest their data. They could use a Reticulum-based messaging app on their phones to create a private, local chat network that works over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Their conversations would be secure, encrypted, and completely independent of any corporation. They wouldn't have to worry about their data being sold or their group being shut down. It gives communities the tools to build their own private digital spaces, on their own terms. This isn't just about extreme situations either. For everyday users, these technologies offer a way to reclaim our digital privacy. Imagine using a social media app built on Qortal, where you truly own your data. There would be no central company tracking your every click to sell you ads. Your online identity and your content would belong to you, and you could choose who you share it with. It's about moving away from a model where we are the product, and toward a model where we are the owners. Ultimately, the future, being built by projects like Qortal and Reticulum, is one of choice and resilience. It's not about destroying the current internet, but augmenting it with a more people-powered alternative. As of today, March 26, 2026, these are still emerging technologies. They require some technical know-how to use, but the vision is clear: to create a digital world that is more open, more private, and more resistant to control. And that's an exciting future to look forward to, one where the internet can truly live up to its original promise of connecting humanity in a free and open way.